Namaskar. Welcome to the 75th episode of Granthyatra. On the occasion of the Diamond Jubilee of this series, we are going to discuss two important plays by one of the stalwarts of Marathi literature, V Shirwadkar. These plays are Dusara Peshwa, the second Peshwa, and Mhanali, Dharatila, what the thunder said to the earth. Shirwadkar is well known as a playwright, novelist, and as a poet who wrote poetry under the name of Kusumagraj. He wrote 3 novels, 9 collections of stories, 22 poetry collections, and 19 plays. His famous plays such as Natasamrat, Rajmukut, and Othello are based on Shakespeare's plays, whereas his plays Dur Se Dive, Becket, and Vaijayanti are based on other Western plays. However, the plays Dusara Peshwa and Veej Mhanali, Dharatila are his original creations based on the lives of historical figures in India. They highlight the poetic splendor of his imagination. The play Dusara Peshwa was published in 1947. Its plot depicts the valor of Shrimanta Bajirao, the second Peshwa of the Maratha Empire, his policies of expanding and strengthening the borders of the Maratha Empire, the brave and loyal men that he had gathered around him for this purpose, the jealous courtiers who resented his increasing popularity, and the dramatic events after Mastani entered his life. The play Veej Mhanali, Dharatila is based on the life of Queen Lakshmibai of Jhansi. It especially depicts her leadership role in the revolt of 1857, her fierce fight to protect Jhansi when it was invaded by the British Army, the defeat of the Indian forces at Gwalior because of the inability of her fellow leaders to comprehend the gravity of the situation, and the Queen's ultimate sacrifice. Shirwadkar wrote this play in 1970. The characterization, dialogues, and the lyrics in the play Veej Mhanali, Dharatila are a testimony to Shirwadkar's power of imagination, his mastery of language, and his gift of poetry. Shirwadkar was an idealist. He worshipped all that is brilliant in human nature and man's inherent strength that inspires him to soar into the sky for the fulfillment of his dreams. He was attracted towards heroes who waged their lives for some higher goal that took them beyond their personal gains and made them strive for the welfare of the masses. In the opening scene of the play Dusara Peshwa, we are introduced to the valiant Bajirao Peshwa who has succeeded in earning respect for the Maratha flag in all directions and in strengthening the independent kingdom of the Marathas. When the jealous courtiers try to poison the king's mind against him and mock Bajirao's army by calling it a bunch of shepherds and cowherds, Bajirao gives them a fitting reply. Because Maharashtra belongs to the shepherds, it has been able to tame the arrogant fighters of the north like sheep and cattle. These shepherds and cowherds have vindicated the meaning of this land as Maharashtra, the great land. They have succeeded in associating the name of Marathas with terror. When these shepherds and cowherds emerge from the caves of the Sahyadri mountain, carrying swords and spears in their hands, the forts of Delhi and Lahore shiver with fear, and the thrones of Kabul and Kandahar tremble. In the play Veej Mhanali, Dharatila, every word highlights the dazzling nature of Queen Lakshmibai. Shirwadkar calls this brave fighter a petal of the sun. Her fearless nature, her valor, and her skills on the battlefield are revealed through the dialogues of other characters. Not only the Queen's assistants, the soldiers who fought on the battlefield alongside her, the ascetic who was well aware of her radiant personality, Peshwa Rao Sahib and Tatya Tope, but even the British officers who were her enemies praise her bravery and her idealism. The Queen's dialogues reveal her concern for the independence of her kingdom. Explaining why she accepted the leadership of the war against the British, Queen Lakshmibai says, "When Jhansi slept, I used to remain awake, Pant, like the torch guarding the gates. I don't pretend to understand everything, but I know this for certain, that the enslavement by the British is spreading like the floodwaters of some huge and poisonous river over my motherland, from the Khyber Valley to Rameshwaram. If we do not resist with all our force at this moment, we will forever be traitors to this land where we are born, Pant. The face of my goddess Mahalakshmi has darkened. Her call falls on my ear day and night. Describing the situation when the British forces had surrounded Jhansi, Julekha, who had joined the Queen's forces, having been impressed by her idealism, says, "And in the face of this apocalypse, my goddess Mahalakshmi is standing like a mountain, stopping the sky from collapsing with her arms. She can neither afford proper sleep nor has time for meals. She is always astride her horse. Whenever the wall surrounding the city is breached, she herself joins the workers to repair it. She visits every locality to enquire after the well-being of her people. She provides solace to those suffering. The earth has given her a loving heart, and the sky has given her this kingdom. Their union seems to have given birth to this lady. But how long can she fight? Her heart has the passion to reach out to the stars, and her wrists have the strength to demolish the mountains. But Rao Saheb, all this cannot last forever." Shirwadkar believes that revolution inspires literature. He also believes that literature can assist in bringing about social change. In the play Dusara Peshwa, the person who lays down their life for idealism is not Bajirao but Mastani. Although the title of the play is Dusara Peshwa, the real brilliant hero of this play is Mastani. Bajirao, who has dazzled on the battlefield with his bravery, is drowning in despair even before Mastani enters his life. He is tormented by the thoughts of death. His mind is full of such thoughts when he is sitting alone in his tent after his victory in Bundelkhand. This depression which follows the celebrations for no reason, this defeat of the mind that walks in the steps of victory. But how can an ordinary human like me prevent it? Even the Pandavas, who were protected by none other than the God himself, could not escape this groundless depression, this defeat of the mind. On the contrary, Mastani, who is in love with Bajirao, is not weak at all. She defies custom and comes to him without caring for the consequences of her action. "I did what no woman has ever done or should do in order to come to you. If I had rode a palanquin and arrived in the grandeur of Chhatrasal's adopted daughter, surrounded by maids and servants, perhaps you may not have liked it, and you would have never understood me or my heart. Which is why, with a dagger tied to my waist, I rode a horse through the midnight darkness and came to my Bajirao like a hurricane." When confessing her love for Bajirao, whom she had adored since her early youth, Mastani says, "The Bajirao I saw standing before me was more handsome than the Bajirao of my dreams. He was more radiant. I could have severed the bonds of 7 lives to merge like a spark in this abundant radiance, and today I have certainly severed the bonds of this life." On their return to Pune, Mastani continues to live with Bajirao while enduring the opposition from his family members and his subjects. Her loyalty to Bajirao and his motherland is unflinching, and she even teaches her son that his caste is Maratha and his religion too is nothing but to be a Maratha. She is even willing to accompany Bajirao on his war campaigns. For this, she practices horse riding in the woods near Parvati. "I go for hunting expeditions so that I can practice the use of weapons and making my horse gallop fast. When on the war campaign, my stirrups should be beside your stirrups. I should not lag behind even by an inch," she says to Bajirao. When Bajirao is fed up with the political conspiracies in Pune, and the opposition to his relationship with Mastani, he wishes to abandon his kingdom and live in a hut in the woods with Mastani. But Mastani reminds him of his duty towards his kingdom. "You are not born to live in the woods like animals, my lord. The Almighty writes every man's duty on his forehead. Bajirao's purpose of life is to extend the boundaries of the Maratha kingdom to Peshawar and Kabul, and whatever happens, he must accomplish this." But when Mastani thinks that she is the cause of Bajirao's indifference to his duty, she is willing to part with him. She even suggests this option to Bajirao. But if that is not acceptable to Bajirao, then fulfilling his every wish is her priority. That is the reason she refuses to promise Chimaji Appa that she would go against Bajirao's wish and not accompany him on his war campaign. She firmly states, "I cannot promise that to you, Appa Saheb. I shall never do. Wherever I am, when I hear my lord's call to me, I shall not stop until I am united with him by whatever means." Mastani's tragedy is the result of misunderstanding about her relationship with Bajirao. For Bajirao, Mastani was a dear companion. She was a friend who pulled him out of his depression, who reminded him of his duty, and who loved him unconditionally. However, his loved ones blamed Mastani for his dejection and downfall. That is what turns Mastani's tragedy even deeper. Bajirao's conflict does not arise solely because of Mastani's entry into his life. The society that surrounded him was incapable of understanding the height of his valor and diplomacy. Instead of feeling proud because of the respect earned by Bajirao's bravery for Maharashtra, the courtiers and the Brahmin class of Pune were engaged in conspiracies against him. Mastani's entry took this conflict to an even higher level. However, the root cause of Bajirao's depression lies in the incompatibility of the ruler and his subjects. Queen Lakshmibai's tragedy is the tragedy of the entire nation. Her acumen of the contemporary politics, the courage displayed by her in fighting a mighty enemy like the British, and her infinite bravery on the battlefield are beyond the capabilities of her contemporary rulers. For this reason, she too had to face misunderstanding and opposition from her own people. Not only her, but the entire Hindustan had to face its consequences for centuries. Rao Sahib Peshwa is busy celebrating his accession to the throne even when the British forces are tightening their noose from all sides. Queen Lakshmibai alerts Rao Sahib about the impending danger with great sincerity. Yet, without taking note of the actual danger, when he keeps blaming her, she feels helpless. When Rao Sahib and Tatya Tope falsely accuse her of coveting the post of the army commander, the queen says, "I am a recluse who walks faithfully towards the distant light. I shall enter the battlefield today with the same sentiment with which I used to visit the temple of Mahalakshmi. A procession of those who are possessed with the same madness as me are with me, and I shall continue to walk with them. Whether people lining the streets hail me or throw mud and stones at me." However, there is one thing that is common between Bajirao and Queen Lakshmibai, and that is their social inclusivity. They do not discriminate amongst their subjects. They both possess the skill to include people from all sections of the society in the movement that they lead. Sir, King Shivaji did not just establish a kingdom, he also established a new religion. And because Maharashtra accepted this religion that does not believe in discrimination based on caste, it is today able to strike at the atrocious foreign rule, says Bajirao. Queen Lakshmibai is aware of the extraordinary capabilities of the common people. Talking about the citizens who have joined her army with great enthusiasm, she says, "This is an Indian war started to re-establish self-rule in India. someone gives a call from an invisible tower, and the common people, anchored in their families, live their day-to-day life like the gale of a hurricane. They take a seat on the throne of flames and mint the coins of embers. They are sprouts of pure, unadulterated energy. Shirwadkar's poetic language effectively portrays the multidimensional personalities of these protagonists. He provides glimpses into the lives and martyrdom of the two dazzling personalities, Queen Lakshmibai and Mastani. In the words of the ascetic in the play V Mhanali, this is not the celebration of death, but a celebration of the radiant life that emerges from death. We only have the right to pay our respects. In the concluding lyric of this play, Shirwadkar writes about the Queen of Jhansi. Spend a moment, O resident of India, and light a lamp at this memorial. At the base of these very stones, offering her life to the motherland, kept burning till she got extinguished, that petal of the sun. We have with us today Dr. Vishakha Kamble, who will talk to us more about these two plays.
तात्यासाहेब वि शिरवाडकर उर्फ कुसुमाग्रज मराठी नाट्यसृष्टीतील एक दिग्गज नाटककार म्हणून ते प्रसिद्ध आहेत. नटसम्राटसारखी नाट्यकलाकृती आम्हा रसिकांकरता दिली आणि आम्ही तृप्त झालो. दुसरा पेशवा हे वि शिरवाडकर यांचं पहिले नाटक. ही त्यांची स्वतंत्र पहिली कलाकृती. या नाटकाचा पहिला प्रयोग 27 एप्रिल 1947 रोजी मराठी साहित्य संघ मुंबई येथे झाला. दुसरा पेशवा हे नाटक एक ऐतिहासिक नाटक आहे. एकीकडे वीरता, शूरता, पराक्रम, तर दुसरीकडे कोमलता, सुंदरता आणि प्रेममयता या दोन भागांचा मिलाप या नाट्य कलाकृतीमध्ये झालेला आपल्याला दिसतोय. बाजीराव आणि मस्तानी यांच्या जीवनातील भावनिक आंदोलने, त्यांची मनोभूमिका आणि त्यांचे अंतरंग अतिशय सूक्ष्मपणे कवी कुसुमाग्रजांनी रेखाटलेले आहेत. आणि म्हणून बाजीराव म्हणतात, इंद्रनीलासारखे नेत्र, इंद्रनीलासारखे नेत्र, चांदण्यांसारखी नजर, इंद्रनीलासारखे नेत्र, चांदण्यांसारखी नजर, उषाकालच्या दवासारखी कोमल, सुंदर, सुगंधी फुलांसर हे संमेलनाप्रमाणे तुझं सौंदर्य आहे. बाजीरावांनी मस्तानीला आपल्या जीवनात फार मोठं स्थान दिलं होतं, परंतु सनातनी समाजाने ते नाकारलं. बाजीरावांनी असं म्हटलेलं आहे की मस्तानी, तुझी जागा पायाजवळ नाही तर माझ्या हृदयाजवळ आहे, असं ठणकावून त्या कालखंडामध्ये सांगणारे बाजीराव हे वीर योद्धा ठरतात. परंतु तत्कालीन कालखंडाची परिस्थिती बघता या दोघांची शोकांतिका झाली आणि जेव्हा बाजीरावांना वीरत्व प्राप्त झालं त्यावेळेस मस्तानी विषाचा प्याला घेऊन आपल्या जीवनाला समाप्त करू इच्छिते. त्यावेळेस ती म्हणते, विशाखा नक्षत्रातील 2 चांदण्या कधी दूर होतील काय? विशाखा नक्षत्रातील कधी 2 चांदण्या दूर होतील काय? आणि या नाटकाची शेवटी शोकांतिका ठरते. वीज म्हणाली धरतीला हे वि शिरवाडकर यांचे 9व्या क्रमांकाचे नाटक. या नाटकाचा प्रयोग 13 मार्च 1970 रोजी डॉक्टर भालेराव नाट्यगृहामध्ये झाला. मुंबईमध्ये जेव्हा हे नाटक झालं त्यावेळेस या नाटकाला फार मोठी प्रसिद्धी लाभली होती. वीज म्हणाली धरतीला म्हणजे वीज म्हणजेच झाशीची राणी, वीरयोद्धी, वीरांगणा असं तिला वि शिरवाडकरांनी संबोधलेलं आहे. या नाटकामध्ये 4 स्त्रिया आहेत जे प्रमुख पात्र म्हणून आपण म्हणू शकतो. झाशीची राणी, काशी, मुंदर आणि अतिशय जवळची सखी असलेली जुलेखा. दुमदुमाए दम नहीं, दुमदुमाए दम नहीं, अब जान मांगो खैर की. दुमदुमाए दम नहीं, अब जान मांगो खैर की. आए जफर ठंडी हुई, आए जफर ठंडी हुई, शमशेर हिंदुस्तान की, शमशेर हिंदुस्तान की, असं जुलेखा म्हणते. इंग्रजांशी लढता लढता झाशीची राणीचा तिला स्वतःचा प्राणत्याग करावा लागतो. स्वामीच्या झोपडीमध्ये ती प्राणत्याग करते. तसेच कल्पीच्या युद्धामध्ये जुलेखाचा एक पाय गेलेला असतो आणि पाय गेल्यानंतर तिला असं वाटते की पुढे 57चा उठाव आहे आणि या उठावामध्ये जर मी असले तर अडथळा होऊ नये, आणि म्हणून ती काशीला आणि मुंदरला याचं सांगते की मी स्वतःचं जीवन आता समाप्त करणार आहे. आणि मुंदर तिचं जीवन शेवटी समाप्त करते. मुंदरी या संग्रामामध्ये स्वामीच्या झोपडीमध्ये मरून पडते, तर काशी शेवटी स्वतःला गोळी झाडून ठार होते. अशी 4 पक्षिणी असं त्याला म्हटलेलं आहे वी शिरवाडकरांनी. या नाटकामध्ये तात्या टोपेची सुद्धा एक महत्वाची भूमिका आपल्याला दिसते. एकंदरीत वीज कशी असते तर कडाडणारी असते, परंतु कडाडताही ती जमिनीसोबत आपली समरसता सुद्धा दर्शवित असते. अशीच ही वीज जमिनीत विलीन झाली आणि झाशीच्या राणीचं एक नाव अजरामर झालं. धन्यवाद.
Both these plays are worth reading not once, not twice, but again and again. They inspire the minds of ordinary people to aspire for higher ideals. Hope you liked this episode of Granthyatra based on these 2 plays. We shall meet in the next episode to get acquainted with a historical novel. Until then, keep reading.